Hey there, guys. Welcome to the next A in Education podcast. What we're going to be talking about today is how to 10 times your results and the four main things that...
Three.
Shit. The three main things we were trying to think of four. The three main things that we are going to really focus on that's going to help you get from good results to absolutely epic results. And me and Nathan both believe this starts from the onboarding process and making sure that when you're onboarding your client, you're asking the right questions, but more importantly, you're trying to find out where they're going to struggle, because that's going to be the thing that's going to hold your client back, whether that be the first week or second week, but it could be 8 or 9 weeks into the process. Because clients have always tried to lose fat before, or they've always tried to gain muscle before. It's very, very rare that you get someone who's never attempted something, because normally people attempt things by themselves. And what you will find is there'll be a common trait that every single time that they've diet, or that every single time they try to gain muscle, that they've come across. And it might be when they get to a certain weight, they can never seem to get past it, or they get digestive issues, or the joints start to hurt when they're trying to get stronger. And then that's going to be the first thing that you need to work around and work on to actually then start to really get the client moving forward.
Yeah, it's a vital part that actually helped change my business to a certain degree because if you've got a client, right, so say if you're a coach now and you have clients that drop off in the first 12 weeks, it's either that your target market's wrong and they don't relate to you, or that your onboarding process isn't the best. Because what we do is what I found helped us, should I say, is that we found out, like Ali just said, the biggest barriers that someone would struggle with. So whether that be meal prep, organization, time management, training in the gym, confidence in the gym, around nutrition, around macros, whatever it is, right? Think of different barriers that you see your clients go through at the minute, and you help people go through, right? Because if you get that from the very start, and you know that from the very start, you know what to work on in the first 4 to 8 weeks. If you solve that issue, that's already a big tick to set up a successful transformation, either in further down the line, in the next year, in the next 6 months, in the next 3 months, whatever it is. But you're setting a client up for success in that first 4 to 8 weeks. It should be first 4, really. Yeah. Sometimes issues take a while to manage, right? But at least you know what that issue is. So you're therefore understanding your client at a deeper level, so you can know what to work on. So the road to success for that client is set up long term. Because it could be that a client struggles with time management, confidence in the gym, and they don't prep food. So you know that you need to get this client more organized, right? So you find out where that they feel like the least organized in their life, yeah? And then you help them work their schedule, get them on a call, do whatever, in your check-in, get them to map out their full week, yeah? Where can you find time and help them find time to do a meal prep, to be more organized, to fit in the gym, get steps in, whatever it may be. That's just a random weird example. Not weird, but random example. But you know what to do from the very start with that client. And that's the main point of the onboarding process is you know where they want to get to, obviously, but you also know where they're currently at and what they're currently struggling with, so you can help them with that struggle.
I think it also puts your clients' mind at ease as well, because you don't overwhelm them with everything. Because if Nathan tried to apply everything in his brain to his clients, they wouldn't have a fucking clue where to start, because there's so much knowledge there. Because there is so much knowledge within this industry. But if you go, okay, these are the first 3 things that we need to work on, I think that's very, very digestible for most clients to be able to understand, okay, if I work on these 3 things, I'm going to make progress over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Then when they've nailed these 3 things, okay, what's the other thing that we need to work on? So there should be always something trying to improve on a week-to-week basis that a client should be focused on. Like a question that I asked in my check-in forms is, what advice would you give yourself next week, and what are the goals that you want to achieve next week? So instead of thinking what's the final goal you want to achieve, it's what you want to achieve by next week. So something that you may have lacked on the previous week. And if you're going to give yourself advice to achieve that goal, what it would be. And again, if a client doesn't really answer that properly, that's something where I probably need to speak to them, because they obviously don't know what to do to be able to stop doing what they're doing. But again, when you're only working on, say, 1 to 3 things, it's not as overwhelming for the clients. We see this too many times now where coaches throwing the kitchen sink at them, this is the phrase that Nathan likes to say, and they haven't got a clue what to do. They get overwhelmed and they don't stick to it, and then they leave because it was just too much for them at that moment in time. And it leads on, we're going to add something else.
No, go on.
I'll say this leads on quite nice now to road mapping. And again, road mapping is another great way in which we can not overwhelm our clients, but also show our client the step-by-step process that's going to take to get to the goal if they adhere to everything.
Yeah, so it's just like the long-term vision for them. So like if you're not road mapping clients, then you need to. If you are road mapping clients, are you road mapping them correctly? So road mapping comes with experience, if I'm completely honest. Like normally every single client, we're a body transformation based brand at Transcend. So we're all about getting a client down to a lower level of body fat before then helping them build muscle or maintain that and sustain it for life. So obviously we know our target market, we know our target audience, we know where they're currently at, and we know where we want to get them to. Me, through experience and obviously all the coaches that I mentor, I now know how long someone would need in a dieting phase. Say if they're 30% body fat to get them down to 15 as a male, they probably need 2 dieting blocks. If they're adherent, 2 12-weekers with a 2 weeks maintenance in between. Simple, yeah. That could be split down into 3 8-weekers with 2 weeks of maintenance. It could be split down into whatever. However, do you know how to roadmap a client properly, and do you know why you should be road mapping them? Do you know the exact rate of loss that they're going to lose each week, based around the body weight, based around the output that you set on, based around the intake that you're giving them? Yeah, so these are all things, and they're all data-driven metrics, should we say, that are driven by data, not actually by guessing, or experience guessing. It is like there's experience and data combined that we help teach you throughout our mentorship.
And it also then gives you a clear idea if the client's sticking to it or not. So, for example, if someone's £200, they should be losing it should be £2, isn't it?
Yeah, so they should be losing like around about 1% of the body weight each week.
Come think about 1% to £2, what's that? So then in 10 weeks they could theoretically lose £20. Now you also know it's not a linear process. So you've got to take that into consideration. But you can go, okay, in 12 weeks and 14 weeks, we should definitely be at this place here. Because they may have a week where they may be going on holiday or something like that. But again, when you have this clear data-driven outcomes, it makes it road mapping so much easier, because you're not thinking, I think my client can do it in this phase. It's like, well, my client can do it in this phase, and if they stick to everything, this will be the outcome. And then that's how you can really start to recreate create confidence, within your clients, because like, we can do this by this phase, and then we're going to have a 2-week break, and then by the next phase we should be here. By the next phase we can then push up a little bit, and then you can achieve the physique that you want in a year to 12, 18 months, whatever it may be. But instead of clients just spinning the wheels for 3 years, doing the same shit different day, you've got a structured approach. It's like, for example, if you go to do university or you go to anything, it's like you've got step-by-step modules that you need to complete that's going to get you to the end goal of the qualification that you want. Same if you do an apprenticeship. And we can actually sort of treat our job very similar to that by road mapping efficiently.
Yeah, and I think like with road mapping comes planned in maintenance phases, like we've kind of just explained. I think a lot of coaches don't know about or don't do these. They think that clients should be dieting for 12 months consistently. Nobody can diet for 12 months consistently. Psychologically, they just won't be able to hack that. Yeah, and internal health wise, they shouldn't really be doing that. We tell all our coaches that we mentor that they need to put in like diet breaks / maintenance phases at certain points. And we tell them the reason why. Yeah, and I'm going to tell it you now. Like, I always use this phrase of this analogy that you imagine you get your car MOT'd once every 12 months, yeah? Or 2 years, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But you get it serviced, MOT'd, yeah? But you don't help a client's body because you keep running them into the floor. It's like not getting your car MOT'd or serviced. So imagine you running your car is like dieting, yeah? And once you get it serviced or MOT'd, it's like doing a maintenance phase to kind of recharge the car, to help fix any different problems, to help give the car a bit of a break from consistently running and being overworked. It's like doing the same for your body. So that's why we need to run maintenance phases. And I always explain that in that terminology to a client, because that helps them understand. And that helps them understand why it's important. Because not only that, the main thing of a maintenance phase is for a psychological break. Mainly, yeah? Like, yes, it'll upregulate nutrient deficiencies. Yes, it'll potentially downregulate inflammation. Yes, it'll potentially upregulate certain hormones to a certain degree, depending on how long you do it. But most importantly, give them a psychological break from being hungry and restricting for a longer period of time.
And I think also, just to add on to that, it's also important for clients to understand how to maintain as well. So they've been so used to being in a deficit for such a long time. when someone's dieted for such a long time, it can be a little bit more scary for them than to suddenly increase food, because they think body weight's going to shoot up, blah blah blah, and then when body weight starts shooting up, that might then cause another negative thought process where they just think fuck it, and then they can easily go from losing 12 pounds to putting 12 pounds back on in 2 weeks. So again, if you have these maintenance phases in there quite regularly, this gives a client more confidence. Okay, I'm going to bump up my food a little bit, but my body weight's not going to change too much. And then they stop getting so attached to the scale weight, always having to go down. They just know it has to go down in certain phases, which will then give them confidence. So it's like in a diet phase, 10 weeks, body weight should trend down quite averagely over these 10 weeks. Maintenance phase, body weight should hold roughly. Diet phase, so on and so forth. So they don't get this negative relationship with the scale where it's like if the scale's not moving down, they're a bad person, so on and so forth. Because people do get that. Like, we've all been there. We've all been very, very emotionally attached to the scale. Like, I've been there definitely within preps where I've weighed myself so many times. I've had a shit and weighed myself again just so I can write a lower reading. But we don't want to get clients into them bad habits.
What's the next one?
Next one is when to push and pull.
Cool. So push and pull, super important. It'll 10x your client results. The reason being is that, like, you can't always push a client. You can't always have the foot on the gas. I think I've used that saying in an earlier podcast, but you can't always have your foot on the gas with a client. And actually, by taking your foot off the gas, I always say sometimes that taking 2 steps back is needed to make 200 forwards. Yeah. And I use that term because sometimes putting a client like through a maintenance phase, it kind of goes hand in hand, or potentially going into a building phase, an improvement phase, and helping them build muscle tissue. They'll obviously gain a little bit of body fat. They may feel like the physique is going a little bit backwards at certain points, but it actually helps them push forwards in the long run to get a better result long term. Plus, you'll start to understand when you can and push and pull clients based around their external stress as well. That's super important, though. You want to look at a client in a holistic way with not just like, this is the data, do this. It's like, right, yes, this is the data, but does this data or phase fit your life at this moment in time? And if it doesn't, your job as a coach is to actually guide them in the most healthiest, correct way to get to their goal. That doesn't mean the fastest route is the best route.
No, but as a caveat to what Nathan's saying there, it's like sometimes clients can get pushed as well. Like, we can push clients outside their comfort zone, and especially if you're trying to get really, really dramatic results. So, like, females getting 6-packs, or lads want to step on stage and want to have lines and the glutes. It's like they're going to have to dig and they're going to have to push. But when you're willing to push someone that hard past what we class as a health boundary, we've got to have the knowledge then to be able to pull them out of the health boundary in a healthy way, instead of just leaving them on the floor and then going, okay, crack on. It's like there's got to be a process in which you want to follow to reverse engineer what you've just done when it comes to actually pushing your clients there. But a lot of coaches now are afraid to push, and I can understand why. But at the same time, me and Nathan both believe that if a client's got a little bit more to give, you should give the client the option to be able to give that. Understanding it may influence their health a little bit in a negative way, but at the same time, we are very confident that we can reverse engineer that, so you become healthier again once it, but you'll have these unbelievable photos, or you've achieved this unbelievable goal. No matter what extreme you do, whether this be an ultra marathon, whether this be a bodybuilding prep, whether it be a triathlon, something like that, there's going to have to come a point where you're going to really have to push and dig. Like, these are extremes. So we just need to make sure that we can reverse engineer out of these extremes.
Yeah, just one point that sprung to mind then what you was saying, just a bonus tip that'll help 10x your client results is managing expectations of your client. Yeah. So, like, that should be done at the start. We should have included this in the onboarding, really, but expectation management is big, because if your client thinks that they're underachieving, then they potentially will self-sabotage or think that they're a failure. But equally, if you said that they should be losing £3 a week when really they should only be losing 2 based on the calories and output that you've given them, then you've not managed their expectations well, because you're setting them too high, and they think that they're underachieving. But equally, on the opposite effect, if you don't manage their expectations where you push them to underachieve, they might not think that they're getting results quick enough that what they'd like. So you've not actually maybe onboarded them properly, because you don't understand where they're at and where they want to get to. So you don't know that you could push them more than maybe as much as you could do.
And just one thing on, like, the expectation management as well. It's actually from the client's perspective to actually understand what they actually have to do to achieve the goal. So people are saying, oh, I want to step on stage. And the reason why I keep referencing stage now is because everyone seems to think it's an easy thing to do. But when you've never actually lived that lifestyle before, a lot of things has to change. Like, your relationships may suffer. You will be very, very self-obsessed. You'll have to do a lot more output than what you probably think. You do have to prep your food. training. If you love training, you're probably going to hate towards the back end of it. All these things are things that we should potentially be just telling our clients that these could happen. So if they do happen, they feel, oh, it's okay, this is normal. Instead of thinking, why do I hate training now? I've always loved training, start to beat themselves up more. Or because they don't understand that this is a normal phase, they might go, what's the fucking point? The eat-off plan, and so on and so forth. So expectation management is also for the clients to understand what they have to do and the expectation of what they will feel like as well going through it.
Yeah. So that's the 3 points sort of bonus tip at the end for you. Comment anything below that you like, any questions that you have below. Follow us on Instagram at AN Education, either 23 or 2023. You can follow us both personally. You'll find us through the AN Education page. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you all in the next episode.